Chapter 8, Investor and Market Fluctuations. It's easy for us to tell you not to speculate. Hard thing will be for you to follow this advice. You can make profit by two possible ways: timing and pricing. Pricing is buying stock when they are quoted below their fair value. Timing is anticipating the course of stock market. Those who try to time the market end up as speculators, and with the speculators, financial results. Pricing, however, is a simple effort to make sure you do not pay too much for your stock. Does it make sense then to buy only after each major decline and sell after each major advance? No. Always have something in both stocks and bonds. Follow the 25% 75% rule, and you can change the proportion of stocks and bonds as per the market conditions. If you think that the market is highly overpriced, so what you can do is you can sell 75% of your holdings in stocks and keep only 25%. So why you should not sell all your stocks? Because if you sell all your stocks, you'll be standing on the side when the stocks double after that. You never know when they are coming down. A substantial rise in the stock market is a legitimate reason for satisfaction, but also a cause for concern. Your three concerns would be: should you sell now, or should you curse yourself for not having bought more shares when the level was low? And worst thought of all, should you now become infected with enthusiasm, overconfidence and greed of the great public and make larger and dangerous commitments? No, you should never do this third thing. Intelligent investor is likely to need considerable willpower to keep from following the crowd. A stock does not become a sound investment merely because it can be bought close to its asset value. Investors should also demand a satisfactory earnings to price ratio, strong financial position, and the prospect that earnings will at least be maintained over the years. The most realistic distinction between the investor and the speculator is found in their attitude towards the stock market movements. Speculators' primary interest lies in anticipating and profiting from the market fluctuations, whereas investors' primary interest lies in acquiring and holding suitable securities at suitable prices. Market movements are important to him in practical sense because they create low prices to buy and high price levels at which he should refrain from buying. Investor never buys a stock because it has gone up and sell one because it has gone down. Benjamin Graham has personified stock market as Mr. Market. He says that Mr. Market has bipolar disorder. Sometimes he's happy and sometimes he's depressed. Every day he tells you what your interest in a company is worth. Don't let Mr. Market's daily mood determine your view of your interest in an enterprise. Don't let him fool you. Mr. Market wants you to feel the way he feels. Would you allow a certifiable lunatic to come at least 5 times a week to tell you that you should feel exactly the way he feels? But intelligent investor should not ignore Mr. Market entirely. Instead, he should do business with him, but only to the extent that it serves the investor's interests. You do not have to trade with him just because he begs you to. By refusing to let Mr. Market be your master, you transform him into your servant. You cannot control whether the stocks or funds you buy go up or down, but what you can actually control is your brokerage cost, that is, you trade patiently, and second, your ownership cost, not investing in expensive mutual funds, your expectations, foregoing your fantasy to forecast, and your risk by choosing what you want to allocate to the stock market, and your tax bills by investing long term, and the most important of all is your own behavior. Investing isn't about beating others at their game, it's about controlling yourself at your own game. If your investment horizon is long, at least 25 to 30 years, there's only one sensible approach: buy every month automatically and whenever else you can pair money. The single best choice for this lifelong holding is a total stock market index fund. No one's gravestone reads, "He beat the market." Jason asked a group of retirees in Boca Raton, one of Florida's wealthiest retirement communities, whether they had beaten the market in their lifetime. Some people said yes, they had, and some said no, they were not able to. But one man said, "Who cares? All I know is my investments earned enough for me to end up in Boca." Psychologists show that if you present people with a random sequence and tell them that it's unpredictable, they will nevertheless insist on trying to guess what's coming next. Our brains are designed to perceive trends even where they might not exist, and pain of financial loss is more than twice as intense as the pleasure of an equivalent gain. If stocks have fallen by 50%, this has put them on bargain levels not seen in years. Stocks dropping is a good news. If after checking the value of your portfolio at 1:30 pm, you feel compelled to check it again at 1:45 pm, ask yourself these questions. Did I call a real estate agent to check the market price of my house at 1:30 pm? Did I call call back at 1:45 p.m. Second question, if I had, would the price have changed? If it did, would I have rushed to sell my house? And the third question, by not checking the market price of my house from minute to minute, do I prevent its value from rising over time? The answer to all of these questions is no. Falling stock prices is good news for an intelligent investor. Keep buying steadily as they keep dropping. You will make a lot of money in the end. Instead of fearing the bear market, an intelligent investor embraces it. You will be much more in control if you realize how much you are not in control. The three things that Benjamin Graham recommends that you should follow are: number 1, dollar cost averaging; number 2, rebalancing twice a year; number 3, sign the investment contract. I'll show you the investment contract at the end of this video. By putting much of your portfolio on autopilot, you can fight the prediction addiction, focus on your long-term financial goals, and tune out of Mr. Market's mood swings. Although Graham teaches us to buy when the market is yelling sell, there's one exception investors need to understand. Selling into a bear market can make sense if it creates a tax windfall. You can reduce your taxable income by maximum repaid allowed for a year and then buy it again next year. Okay, now let me read the investment contract for you. I hereby state that I'm an investor who's seeking to accumulate wealth for many years into the future. I know that there will be times when I will be tempted to invest in stocks and bonds because they have gone up in price, and other times when I will be tempted to sell my investments because they have gone down. I hereby declare my refusal to let a herd of strangers make my financial decisions for me. I further make a solemn commitment never to invest because the stock market has gone up and never to sell because it has gone down. Instead, I will invest some dollars per month every month through an automatic investment plan or dollar cost averaging program into the following mutual funds or diversified portfolios. You can name those funds here. I will also invest additional amounts whenever I can afford to spare the cash. I hereby declare that I will hold each of these investments continually through at least the following date, which must be a minimum of 10 years after the date of this contract. The only exceptions allowed under the terms of this contract are a sudden pressing need for cash, like a healthcare emergency or the loss of my job, or a planned expenditure like a housing down payment or a tuition bill. I am, by signing below, stating my intention not only to abide by the terms of this contract but to reread this document whenever I am tempted to sell any of my investments. This contract is valid only when signed by at least one witness and must be kept in a safe place that is easily accessible for future reference. That's all for this video.